Um, I'm trying to remember what I said. I remember talking about um, wanting to find new things, and that's definitely not changed. Um, I can't remember what else I said really. So yeah, um, still looking for new things all the time. Yes. Um, I think I think I'm more unsettled, to be honest, and it's partly down to being in isolation. Well, not isolation, but in lockdown. But partly, I don't know, just all sorts of things going on in my life. Um, Loneliness, I think, crops up for various reasons, including lockdown. But I find that recently I go into dips, sort of like have 4 good days and then go in a dip where I can't really be. I feel very unmotivated, and doing a lot of things feels pointless. It lasts about 2 days and then I come out of it. So that's and I'm really attributing that to lockdown, and a lack of conversations with other people. I'm trying to um, initiate conversations with people, but I find a lot of the time at the moment, conversations are very deliberate. They're centered around a particular subject. You contact someone to talk about a particular subject, and so missing out on just general chatter and not knowing where a conversation is going, that has been greatly missed. So I've tried to initiate a few of those and contacted a few people and said, do you want just a random chat? And that has been quite, there haven't been many, but they've been good when they've happened. I think the dips, um, for a few days. I think that's quite common with the people that I've talked to. Um, so it has affected quite a few people in similar ways. It's sort of like a listlessness, uh, and an uncertainty about what on earth the future will hold. Um, so yeah, so there's a commonality. So in a sense, it's it's nice to think that you're not the only one thinking a similar thing, um, but in another sense, it doesn't really help because you're still unmotivated. Other people, yes. Who knows other people's minds? No idea. It's I don't think you can ever know another person's mind. Um, Well-being, again, this is very much down to lockdown. Um, Well-being has been centered around going for walks, the daily walks. I've not gone out every day. Some days I just, that when the lack of motivation kicks in, I just don't want to. But when I have gone out, which is probably 3 or 4 times a week, I've really enjoyed exploring the pathways that are near me, and I've discovered new places, new woods to walk in. I found that I really enjoy walking next to streams, which I didn't know before. But it's natural areas that I enjoy: woods, streams, um, and just being in the open air with just natural sounds, really. I recorded, for a project, I recorded the morning chorus, and I really enjoyed that. There was something about bird song. A lot of people say they've noticed more bird song of recent, and I think that comes down to dipping out of the rat race a bit. So yeah, the natural sound, the natural landscape have been my refuge. I photograph dance quite a lot, and so dance figures a reasonable amount in my life. But I went to a wedding and people were dancing, and I felt quite frustrated how uncomfortable I felt with dancing. It just sort of like, I felt very self-conscious about doing anything, and I didn't know what to do, how to fit in that sort of situation. And so I talked with a friend who's just starting to teach dancing, and we now have weekly sessions where she teaches me to dance, which is very strange. But I'm enjoying learning about movement, but I still don't have the confidence to actually go out and dance in public, as it were. So it's a journey that I've started, but not really completed, and I don't think I'll ever complete that, to be honest. But the journey started, and I think that's the important thing. Strength and resilience. I think resilience is keeping going despite the internal battles, and also just what life throws at you. So resilience is the ability to keep going. Strength sounds quite similar. I'm trying to think, how is it different from resilience? Strength. Am I a strong person? I don't really know. I think maybe I'm of average strength, not physically really, but mentally. I let things affect me. I let emotions affect me. What it bothers me, what other people think. Or what I imagine they think. So that is a dent in my own strength, I get, but I really wouldn't want to be without that, because to me that's empathy, which is a positive. So, but I think I'm wandering off the subject really. Strength. I'm unsure how to define strength in myself. And in others, really, in a different way to resilience. So I'm afraid that's all I've got on that one. Where do I draw my strength? Strength and resilience. I'm going to put them in the same bucket. Work. I wouldn't have always said this. It's doing stuff. It's keeping busy, but keeping busy with stuff that interests me, stuff that feels creative and positive, working with other people. I like to collaborate with people, and that watching creation come together, whatever it is, creative. items come together is just so motivating. So that's what gets me up in the morning. It's watching things being created and enjoying their creation, and seeing the creations of other people, which inspire. So it's art, it's music, it's the natural world, and yeah, and other creative people, I think. When have those dips been in my life? I used to live in Spain, and when I came back to Britain, I came back to no job, and I felt a hopelessness. Then that, I think, is the time that I needed it most, and didn't really have an outlet for it. Didn't have not an outlet for it. Didn't have a source of strength. That was before that I was a photographer and had any creative outlet. My main creativity was engineering, and being out of work, I had no source for being creative at that point. And so that that lack of a creative outlet made me feel low, although I didn't realise that at the time. It wasn't until many years later that I really identified it. So that's probably been my lowest in life, and that lasted about a year and a half, 2 years. But I came out of it, obviously, got work, and that led to creativity. And shortly after, I discovered photography, and so at that point, creativity started to explode. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, strength is being able to put something out into the world, and being able to have other people say that you're doing something of worth. That's where I think I get it from. Well-being, mindfulness, and how it's interpreted within each person. That to me is the connection. It's how you keep going on a daily basis. How do you keep going? How you feel motivated to keep doing with whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah, I mean, that to me is the connection. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I work within the theatre community, and mindfulness and well-being and the effect of the arts on people comes up a lot. And I think in the wider world, it does affect people, but they don't realise it. There was recently a survey in one of the newspapers, and it was what are essential workers and what are inessential workers, and the top inessential worker was artist. And I think when people answered that question, they probably thought of a piece of art in an obscure gallery that they really didn't understand, and forgot about the newspapers and the magazines, the books, the television, and the plays that they watch. So that they, so it's how strange that people are affected by art every day and wouldn't be without it, but I'm not convinced that the wider world realizes how important it is to them. So now I've wandered off and forgotten the question. In my community, in my work community, I see it a lot. Within the people I see around me, not so much. I think a lot of people that I know outside of the creative community, they look for mindfulness to solve a problem, rather than as a prevention of a problem. I This is worked out lockdown related, and it's mainly that I honestly cannot wait to get back to working with other people. That to me has been it's something that I knew before, but it's really emphasised it, how random conversations with people are the source of a lot of creativity. A lot of my work comes out of random conversations with people, and also creativity. Projects will come from unexpected sources, and without a randomness to meetings, then a lot of stuff happens. I really like the word serendipity in context of creativity, because it's finding and recognizing the unexpected, and then using the unexpected that ends up being some of the most interesting stuff that happens. I think I've wandered off the subject again, but I'll go with that.